Welcome to CLEF Notes, brief answers to theological questions. A question for this week is similar to the one from last week. Last week we asked about churches that skip over Good Friday and head right into Easter. Well, this week's question is, why Holy Week at all? Why take a week? And why look at the events of the life of Christ during the last week before his crucifixion? Why not just skip forward to Easter? There are practical elements of that, aren't there? We look at Christmas time and we say, well, look, there's the birth of Christ. Let's have Christmas Eve. Let's have Christmas Day. That's wonderful. We have a few texts in Scripture about the birth of Christ, especially the beautiful Luke chapter 2. But, man, look at that last week of the life of Christ. What really is there to say? Well, almost half of the Gospel of John, almost half, is taken up with that last week. 10 chapters. The other Gospels are similar, but not so much, but certainly a lion's share of those Gospels is taken up by that last week of the life of Christ. That is, his coming to Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, the institution of the Lord's Supper on Maundy Thursday, his crucifixion and death on Good Friday, his resurrection from the dead on Easter Sunday. Almost half the Gospel of John is taken up with that event. And that brings to the close, of course, all the events of Scripture that began ultimately back at the end of the book of Exodus, the second book of the Bible, where God has Moses build a tabernacle there in the wilderness, having rescued the children of Israel from their slavery in Egypt. When Christ is crucified there on the cross, the temple curtain rips in two from top to bottom, symbolizing or signaling that that's done. That Old Testament, that temple, that tabernacle that had been the center of Jewish religion and life for so long, it's completed. Now everything is tied together with the crucifixion of Christ. So, boy, you could say that a week is not enough to explore all of the different elements of that last week of Christ's life and what they mean still for us today. But it does explain why churches for the last 2,000 years have really focused in on the crucifixion of Christ, the Lord's Supper that he instituted, that tied himself and the cross to us in a beneficial way. And then, of course, his resurrection from the dead. If you haven't gone to Holy Week services before, if it's new to you, maybe do a little exploring this week. Get online. Find a church that has Monday, Thursday services and Good Friday services, and perhaps even Holy Saturday services before you head to church on Easter Sunday. It'll give you a new perspective on Easter, and also a new perspective on your own life as a Christian. Hope this helps, and I hope you can join me next time on CLEF Notes.